It's good, sir.
Okay, you can hear. Fine. So before we start our course, that is on statistical methods, which is a 2-unit or 2-credit course, there are some few instructions to be made. Can you all hear? Yes? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. First announcement is when you log on to Zoom, better to use either your name. Most preferable is use your registration number. The reason why I am saying is this you are entering and excluding time in Zoom will be recorded by our server, so that we can take you in and out as the attendance. For attendance, it is accountable, right? So that who are the people attended, who are the people not attended will be counted based on your registration number. So please rename all of your what do you call, under the name that you have entered. Some people have not entered your name, it is coming as guest, so better to give most likely with the registration number. Is it clear? Registration number with name. Okay, right. Is it clear? Is it clear or not clear?
Clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear, right. Right, we will go to the course statistical methods, right? Statistical methods, which is a 2-unit course. The lecture hours is theory is 23 hours and practical 15 hours. Don't expect to have 23 hours via Zoom. We may have some in-class lectures as well. We cannot compare 1 hour in-class lectures with 1 hour Zoom lectures, right? As you all know, Zoom lectures are long, so that maybe 1 hour in-class lecture may be equal to 2-hour Zoom class, right? So anyhow, since this is a Zoom class, we'll have to go a little slowly. Right, I would like to, can you all see me now? I have a small technical problem. Right, can you all see me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I would like to see the faces of 2 batch reps. One is Jeffrey, and the other one is the female batch rep. What is the name? What is her name? Hamsini, yeah. Yeah, can I look at your faces? Can you just switch on your videos? I would like to see your faces just to remember. Jeffrey and yes? Jeffrey, are you there? Jeffrey, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, this is Kamsat Vadanmani, right? Okay, thanks.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Okay, sir.
So whenever, if I want to communicate via phone, I will simply communicate via phone.
Okay, sir.
But in addition to that, I may send messages via LMS, right? That is also possible, so that both of you have to pass the message to other group as well. Jeffrey, can you switch on your video? Jeffrey? That is Jeffrey, right? Okay, okay, thanks. You can switch off now. Fine. This lectures will be based on, yeah, now you can switch off, no problem, because otherwise you will be disturbed. And throughout the class, I think all of you need to switch off or mute your microphones, right? I mean, speakers. Mute the speakers, microphones. Whenever necessary, you unmute and then you answer. Definitely. You see, I have a list of your names. I don't know whether you can read it correctly. So I have a list of names where I might ask questions based on this name list. So in case if no one is going to answer, that assumes that particular person is not in the Zoom. I will assume it as it is, right? So when I ask questions, it doesn't matter because all are learning process. So the answers may be correct or may be wrong, doesn't matter. This is a learning process. So I expect answers from everybody. When I say names, you can answer. Even if you didn't understand certain aspects, so you can ask repeatedly, no problem. I don't mind. The other thing is you can ask questions in any language, English, Tamil, or even I can speak Sinhala up to a certain level and understand, so that you can ask your questions in your all three languages. Don't worry about that, right? By asking question only, you can improve your knowledge. That is what we expect, right? Right. I will be using time to time some different methods of teaching. PowerPoint, because I have prepared the lectures on PowerPoint. I'll be using mainly PowerPoint, and there's a pad. This is a pad where I can write something which I want can be displayed in your screens, right? So I will use time to time both alternatives. Probably from next week onwards, I'm not sure. We will fix a board, a whiteboard. Time to time, I can use all three different teaching aids. Right? Can you all hear me properly? If you keep silent,
Yes.
I don't understand what is happening. Yeah, at least one can answer. I expect that answer from either Jeffrey or Kamesh Vani, right? Kamesh, Kamsat Vani or Jeffrey. Those answers, right? Because as you all represent the, unfortunately or fortunately, the whole batch, right? But when you ask question, when I ask questions, I will focus on individual people, so that you should be able to answer the question, right? Jeffrey, do you have any idea what is the total number of students in the class, in your class? Total batch who is presently active in following the course?
There is around 86 students, sir.
86. So
Oh,
all 86 are at the moment in touch, right, with you? I mean, maybe Facebook or whatever the mass media, right?
yes, sir, around I think 80 students are here.
80 students, right? Okay. No, because according to my number, maybe it may appear on your screen as well. Only 68 has logged on. I'm not sure what has happened to the rest of the people. 67, including me, 68. So 67 is 69, increase 69. So that I'm not sure what is happening with that. Right, now what I'm planning is the class dates. We will talk about the class dates. Can you all see the your time is Wednesday 1 to 3. That is normally fixed, right? Can you all see the board?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Now I have already started for your final year students, your colleagues, with the lectures. So so those are Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday 1 to 3 and Thursday 10 to 12. So that is for final year students, right? But final year students from this week, I think from tomorrow or day after tomorrow, they will be on study leave. Have you heard about it? They will be on study leave for their 3-2 examination. 3-2 examination, right? They will be on study leave. So what is the request from you all is, how about your availability, not this week, from the next week, what about your availability during this time? Do you have any lectures? Because this is a fixed time, huh? No change in this. No change in this. This will be fixed. So we need additional time for more explanation. So that I'm expecting maybe for at least for another 3 weeks or 4 weeks starting from next week to have lectures during this time period also. That is Tuesday 1 to 3, Thursday 10 to 12. Jeffrey, do you have any common lectures? Because you are still not specialized, you haven't started specialization, right? Have you? Haven't you? Yes, have you
Yes,
started? Yeah.
no.
So, yeah, at the moment, anybody have put lectures during this period? This time period, Jeffrey?
No, sir. Design PD, there is no lectures.
Right. For the time period, you keep these two time free. Because I'm not going to take all 3 lectures. I may take only 2 of these, depend on the availability. All right, availability depend on my free time. I will take, if I take Wednesday and Tuesday, I will not take lectures on Thursday. If I take Wednesday and Thursday, I will not take Tuesday lectures, right? So for the time being, keep all 3 time schedules for this particular course. As I pointed out, when you do 2-hour lectures in the class, it takes about 4 to 5 hours to do the same lecture via Zoom in statistics, because it is not just reading the PowerPoint that has been prepared. Then no lectures needed, no lecturers needed. We need to explain certain concept, certain calculations, certain principles using other aids, right? So that is why, because using other aids, you see, even I cannot write on the board. If I write on the board, I can write it very clearly. But if I write it here, you see, my letters are going here and there. So it takes time, right? So I hope all of you would agree to keep this, because this is extra. This is the time period given for your final year, since they are going to have the examination from next week. So I will be taking lectures from either of these dates. Is it clear? Right. So do not allocate this time period for any other activities. Since I am the first spoke to you to keep this time along with you, so keep these 2 time slot freely. Yes or no? Anyone having problem? Is it sleeping time or lunch time, problem time? Yeah. Yes. Okay, no problem. So I always ask questions from those batch representative, so that if they say yes, then fine. Okay. If others having a problem, you can just tell me, no problem. Right. We'll start with our lectures. Statistical methods. When you talk about statistical method, let me check. There was a chat information. Is that timetables? Yeah. Timetable. Yes. What do you mean by timetable? Vidurshan. What do you mean by timetable? I didn't.
Sir, we didn't get the proper timetable still.
Why? It has been uploaded in your LMS, I think.
They changed the time, sir. AR of.
They have changed the timetable, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will see then. We will see. We will see. For the time, I mean, we will see. Normally, the lectures before 12 o'clock. That is what I learned. But anyhow, we will see. We will see. But for the time being, just keep it as it is. Keep Tuesday and Thursday addition to our Wednesday lectures. Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Right. Now we will go to the subject. We will go very slowly if anybody wants to, because this statistics is the first one of the course. Statistics may be slightly agriculture, engineering, mathematics. All these are courses where you have never ever studied in your A levels, right? For example, agronomy, biology, economics up to a certain level, extension, all these courses have been taught in some or other in different courses before you come to the university, embedded in different courses, maybe agriculture courses or maybe biology courses, any courses has been embedded. But statistics is a new course that you are going to learn from the beginning. All right. I will time to time I will talk about some history of statistics, the implication, the application of statistics in Sri Lanka, and so on. Right. This is a theory and practical based course. The theory course will be handled by myself. Practical will be handled by our Mr. Werner Goban. You might have seen him and learned from him the computer courses, IT courses, right? So both of us will be teaching this course, right? But the evaluation will go separately. Theory, separate evaluation process, practical, separate evaluation process. Ultimately, the both results will be amalgamated and published, right? Right. When you talk about this particular course, right? What is the objective of learning this course? What is the objective of learning this course? It will furnish the students with basic idea or principles on biostatistics. I will define the terms, what is statistics, what is biostatistics later. By summarizing the data, use of a variety of different statistical tests available, by manual and with the aid of statistical package. So we can do certain analysis or certain calculation manually, and also certain cases, if you have large number of data, very difficult to do it by hand. Then we'll have to go for some computer aided tools, which is specific for statistical application. So we might combine both. That is why you are learning through practicals. And ultimately, you should be able to interpret the data interpret the results That's what very important, right? You'll have to interpret the data after the analysis or statistical analysis. After the analysis, I think the interpretation is important. Why interpretation is important? Because interpreting without interpretation, the normal people will not understand what you have done. Interpretation is important, right? So interpretation could be done if you have substantial knowledge in statistics. If you don't have knowledge on statistics, we cannot interpret any information, right? So interpretation is very important, right? When you talk about outcome, so at the end of this course, learning outcome, how many of you have already got the notes from the PDF file which I have uploaded a couple of days ago? How many of you have yeah, anyone? You see, I have all the information. You see here, Aradhana. Who is Aradhana? Aradhana never get into the group. Huh? Who is Aradhana? Aradhana? Manivarnan. Miss Aradhana, are you around? Miss Aradhana, are you around? AG 090. Aradhana is missing. Balachandran, Miss Balachandran, Narmada, she is also never looked upon the notes. You see, Chandramohan, Dilogi, number 88, never looked upon the notes, I mean the group. So all information appearing on the web for us, we can find out where are you, all this, you see. So better to download what is uploaded in the LMS and you just read it. That is important. Okay. Yes. Okay. Arosha, yeah, they have said they have. Vidurshan, yes, fine. Okay. Right. Now, better to download the notes and just go through the notes so that you will be very easily understand certain things. So half of things you will understand by reading, the rest half you can learn through listening to the lectures. Right. So usually after this course, students should be able to okay, some have already said downloaded and so on. It's fine, it's fine. So you download and just have it with you. That is what we expect. That is why we are uploading. Otherwise, no point of uploading, is it? I can keep it as a secret. I don't want to keep it as a secret. But certain things, sometimes even after uploading, I have modified certain slides. So once you have the downloaded printed matter or material, if something is missing in your print, then you can include, you can write to your notes embedded into your note, right? So that is what I am expecting, because time to time I also get immediately get some more information. Suddenly I update in my slides. So after last week also, today also updated some words, some information and so on. So always better to look for that, right? Okay, you'll have to show the ability to apply the fundamentals concept of explanatory data analysis. So you should be able to know how to organize, manage, present the data using some of the very basic softwares. Starting from using raw data. Raw data mean it is an unprocessed data. Raw data mean raw material. It's like a raw material for. What is the raw material for bread? What is the raw materials for bread? Anyone?
Charge.
Yeah, raw material. Raw material. I'm not asking any content. Raw material for bread mean from which we are making wheat flour, isn't it? One example is wheat flour. You can say raw materials for other items, maybe rice flour, etc. etc. So raw materials, wheat flour. So wheat flour is an unprocessed one, isn't it? So we'll have to process in a form that can be consumable. Similarly, data also raw data, unprocessed data. You have piles of raw data which has been not processed at all, so that no one can understand, study about that data. If you process, then process and summarize, understand what it is, right? So basically raw data, we convert them into a kind of summarized manner so that people will be able to understand. Perform a wide range of parametric statistical tests. We'll talk about what is this this is very important. What do you mean by parametric test? I will not talk about now. Parametric test is a kind of test that we use in statistics. We cannot use all the tests for all the raw data. Later we will see. We classify the data. Somebody is sneezing. Better to switch off your microphones, right? Please mute your microphones. People who have come late, please mute your microphone. I cannot do it individually all the time. So mute your microphones. Parametric statistical. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So parametric test. Sir, my phone have low charge because power cut in my area, so I can't participate. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know what area is that. Okay, fine. So parametric statistical test. That is a kind of test that we use. Opposite to parametric is called as non-parametric test. We are actually not going to study non-parametric test here. You will learn that probably in your final year. But here we apply very basics of parametric statistical test. So you should be able to perform this parametrical statistical test. This is too early to explain to you what is this parametrical statistical test. I will do it a little later. And manually as well as using computer package. So this test you can do it manually as well as using some computer aided softwares. That is also easy. So you will learn in both ways. And describe foundations for classical inference involving confidence interval and hypothesis testing. This is an important topic, hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing. This is very important. Hypothesis testing is a very important information. That is the heart of statistics, right? Testing, because we want to test some kind of statements, hypothesis testing. So that we will learn in the due course. Right, any questions? So this is just what you are going to learn, right? This is what you are going to learn. Right, now the course content, all these are in your information. So I'll be handling only theory, types of data, parameters, and estimates. What is the difference between parameter and estimates? Measure of center and dispersion, frequently distributions, type of variables, discrete and continuous variables, concept of probability, probability distribution, normal distributions, etc., etc., and F distributions, different distributions. Concept of hypothesis testing, this is what I said earlier, and different types of testing of means available, mainly t-test and the z-test. This we will look at it, and finally we look at it, look at the confidence interval as well. Okay. Right. Sorry. Then you have a practical. So a practical will be handled by Mr. Werner. So no worry about that. He will handle and give, because practical has to start little later, because after maybe 3, 4, 5 theory class only practical could be started, right? So he may start in 2, 3 weeks time, hopefully. Then, right. This is our first information. What is statistics? If I ask statistics, right? Somebody can answer what is statistics. I will explain what is, or from your knowledge, what is statistics? Can somebody answer to me what is statistics?
It's a collection of informative data.
Okay, fine. Collection of some data, fine. But as I pointed out, once you collect data, it's true, 100% true. We collect the data. Now, after collecting data, we'll have to do, yes, processing, fine. Collecting, processing. After processing, then
Analysis.
Then, yeah, after processing, analysis, all to come together. After that, ultimately, now we have some output. Computer, we do the analysis using computer. It gives some figures, numbers, values. Computer gives some figures, numbers, values. Now, what we'll have to do? We are human beings. We are not like computer. We have a thinking ability. So, what we do using that output, we should be able to interpret that numbers, right? Interpretation and presentation. The computer cannot do interpretation. Computer cannot do presentation, right? How to do the presentation? Can a computer write the thesis for you, undergraduate thesis? No, right? So you'll have to think and you'll have to write. So that is what called as statistics, basically. So it is a scientific matter of few things composed in statistics. It is a scientific matter of planning, right? So we call it as planning, right? Sorry. So first matter is planning, right? That is one thing. Then collection of data, right? Before coming to collection of data, let's talk about planning. What is planning? Somebody can you tell me what is planning? When you want to collect data, we'll have to plan it. What do you mean by planning? Can somebody tell me? Let's say you are going to study dengue incidents in Jaffna district, right? In Jaffna, we are going to study dengue, right? Don't worry about this writing, because this pad is very difficult to write on this pad. Can you all hear me once again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. I'm going to study dengue in Jaffna district. So how to do the planning? Can somebody tell me how I can do the planning? I am going to do some questionnaire survey among the people in Jaffna district. Can you tell me how I can start, where I can start? What is the easy way to divide Jaffna district into different groups? What is the easy way? Already government has divided Jaffna district into different groups based on something. Not only Jaffna district, all the districts. How do you call these divisions? This district has been divided into several divisions. Already I gave the name. What is that? Several divisions.
Divisions.
Yeah, divisions. Districts has been divided into division 1. I don't know the names. So division 2, division 3. How do you call? In Sinhala it is called Prale. The boss of this division is called as Pradesha Lekam. In Tamil, how do you call? How do you call in Tamil? Pradesha Seyalalar. Right? So this is how the structure goes, because I'm going to talk about dengue in the whole district, so that I cannot ignore any divisions. I'll have to take all the division. I don't know. Anyone from Jaffna can tell me how many divisions are there? I don't know exactly how many divisions. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, Division 4, etc., etc. Right? Right. So we have the division. Under division, what are the structure? Anyone? Under division, what are the structure?
GS divisions.
Yeah. Earlier days we call it as GS. Now we call it as GN, Grama Niladari, GN division. Now we call it as GN, Grama Niladari division. So GN1 in this division, GN2, GN3, likewise. You have several divisions, right? Now, what I need to do as a sampling, I get information from this division. I mean, this GN division, this GN division, this GN division, isn't it? I take all the information from all the divisions. All right. I take the information from all the divisions. Once you take the all information, right? So that is planning. Suppose, let's say I have money to take only information from 600 people from whole Jaffna district, right? I can take 600 sample from Jaffna district, right? Now how I am going to select numbers from this GN division. So from each GN division, I'm going to take samples. Do you agree? If I am going to take all 600 from division 1, am I doing a good job? All are sleeping after lunch?
No, sir.
Huh? No. So it is not a good idea to take all 600 sample from one division or two division. So this sample has to be across all the divisions, isn't it? Then only I can do a better study. So how to split these samples into different divisions and different GN areas? So that is how we'll have to plan it. Before doing the data collection, we'll have to plan it properly. So planning is very important. In any kind of experiments, planning is very, very, very important. If your plan is not done properly, then you cannot do a good experiment. Right. Now, the same thing. if you want to build a house, if you want to build a house, what is your first item that you do it? We have a plan, house plan, blueprint. We drew a housing plan, isn't it? So according to the plan, height of the wall, thickness of the wall, for example, what I'm going to do upstairs, how many windows, size of the window, that is called planning. So before building a house, we do the planning. Similarly, before do the collection, data collection, or before do the experiment, we plan it. Clear? Right. After doing all this planning, you implement it, then you go for data collection. Then you go for data collection, right? So you collect the data, right? Once you collect the data, it is something happening. If you collect the data, right? If you collect the data, so right, if you collect the data, now what is step? You have collected the data. Once you have collected the data, we'll have to classify the data. What do you mean by classifying? If you have collected the data, we'll have to classify. What do you mean by classification? You want to differentiate different data. For example, I take sex. How many sex are there in human beings? Sex. Yeah? 3 sex? 4 sex? Anyone? Male? Female. 2 categories. So this is one type of data. Income. I'm collecting data from these 600 families, whether how many members are male and female. Sex is one variable. Income is another variable. Can you tell me, are these types of data are same? Ramanathan, Mr. Ramanathan. Sri Tivagaran.
Yes.
Tivagaran, are you around?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me whether these 2 types of data are same. I have sex is one type of data. Income is another type of data.
No, sir. They are different.
Different. Why? I mean, you can, yeah. First of all, they are different. That is correct. 100%. Why they are different?
We classify according to the different perceptions.
Yeah. For example, sex, we have how many categories? This?
2.
Yeah. Any sex any sex, if you take a personal, any sex, any member can be put into either this category, male category, or female category, isn't it? So only 2 options are there. But if you take income, how many possible categories? There is no any categories as such. Income, as an example, can start from 0. I will say a typical example, 0 income. There are people who have 0 income, can go up to, in Jaffna district, for example, can go up to 1 million, as an example. Income, monthly income, maybe 0 to 1 million. So now you see, in between these 2 values, any values are possible. So this is another type of data. So we cannot simply say sex and income are same type of data. What is the problem in statistics? If I have this type of data, sex data, if I have income data, I cannot apply the same statistical analysis for both variables, right? This is a categorical variable. This is a continuous variable. We will talk about that variable later. So two different variables. So I cannot perform the same statistical analysis. So what we want to do is, after collecting the data, we want to classify the data. So that is why classification is important. Based on the classification, we will perform the statistical test. Right, now from the test, we have the output. Right, I will just from the can you all mute it, please? Can somebody mute it? What is happening? Yeah. This is the problem with this Zoom lecturing. Okay. So after classifying, we do the analysis, right? Analysis. We do the analysis. Once you do the analysis, all right, we want to interpret. So once you do the analysis, we want to present the data. The process data can be presented. We present the data, all right, and we interpret the output, right? We interpret the output. We present the data and interpret the output. Then from that, we make the conclusion. Sorry, this is S-I-O-N, conclusion. C-O-N-C-L-U-S-I-O-N, conclusion. So based on that, we make the conclusion. And then, for example, you are learning agriculture. So after doing an experiment, once you have made a conclusion, let's say you are using some fertilizer F1 now at the moment. The Department of Agriculture is recommended a fertilizer which is used by all the farmers. Now you are testing a new fertilizer, right? New fertilizer, let's say F2, which has been brought down from, let's say, European country, a new formulation saying that it is increasing the yield. Now we test this. Once you test, ultimately F2 give higher results than F1. Fertilizer F2 gives a higher yield than F1. So what you will recommend to the farmer? Still to use F1 or to go for F2? What do you think? Yeah? Jesudas, Suganya, Jesudas, what do you think? What do you prefer? F2 is giving higher yield than F1. So what do you recommend to the farmer? So we will recommend to the farmer. What is the recommendation? What is the recommendation? Suganya, Jesudas, missing?
Fertilizer 2.
F2, right, fine. So we recommend to use the F2 fertilizer hereafter by the farmers. So that is a finding, isn't it? That is a finding. So that is called as recommendation. So based on this conclusion, right, based on the conclusion, we can make some recommendations as well. So that is called overall aspects of statistics. Don't think that statistics is just collecting data. Just collecting data, anyone can do it, right? So we'll have to comprise all activities. Planning, starting from planning, collecting, classifying, analyzing, presenting and interpretation, if necessary, coming to a conclusion as well as doing some recommendation. Right? Right. So you can write down whatever you want, right? Then what is biostatistics? Most of the time, sometimes people call it as a biostatistics. What is biostatistics? What is biostatistics? Actually, it is the application of the same statistics what we have learned on biological experiments. Biological experiments, for example, biological experiments mean experiment with plants, experiments with animals, experiments with all these fungi and so on, microbes, because those are biological agents, biological organisms, right? So if you deal the same concept of statistics in biological problems, to solve biological problems, that is statistics. Suppose if you are trying some medicines for this recent pandemic COVID-19, so that is statistics have to important. Statistics important. Why? Because you cannot make conclusion by curing one patient. So we'll have to take some samples, maybe 100 or 200 COVID infected samples. Suppose, let's say you have a new medicine, you give them new medicine to all these 100 patients and see how success they are recovering. Within how many days that they have recovered, all these informations. Statistics is very important in any kind of experiments, right? So you cannot simply blankly recommend any dosage of any kind of medicines without doing statistics, right? So biostatistics mean application of statistics in biological problems, right? We will go without break. I think I'll have to stop at 1:30, sorry, 2:30 or 2:45, 2:30 probably, because the computer unit has to be closed by 3 o'clock because these people have to leave. So I will continue. Otherwise, usually I will give a 5-minute break. Since I'm going to go till 2:30, we will continue, right? Right. What is statistics then? Sorry, why then we need statistics? Why do we need statistics? To develop an appreciation for variability and how it affects product, process, and the system. Have you heard about this term? Variability. I will define it later. Have you heard about this variability? Have you heard about this variability? If there is no variability, what is variability? First of all, what is variability? What is variability? Tell me. What is variability? Anyone?
Variations of something.
Yeah. Give an example. Good. That is fine. Variation of something. Yeah. Just give an example.
Height, sir.
Height, exactly. So height from objective in your class. Take your class. If you measure the height of individual, do you see all these? All of you are in the same height? No, due to several reasons. Maybe genetic factor, maybe due to environment, maybe due to food habit. All these are matter for the height, right? So that is why if there is no variability, right? I will say VARI, huh? I cannot write it. If there is no variability, what do you think? All the people in the class will be in the same height, isn't it? So if there is no variability, no statistics. If there's no variability, no statistics. We don't need the statistics if there's no variability, right? For example, yeah, I'm not a good. You do a titration. Sorry. Have you done titration for your examination? This is burette, right? So you have a conical flask. This is burette, conical flask. I will put it as CF. So here you have control valve. Right, now I have the same solution here. I have the same solution. Now I am doing a titration. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm doing a titration. Now I'm taking a first reading. Same solution, huh? Same solution. At the end point, I'm taking the first reading. It says burette reading 5.5 milliliter. 5.5 milliliter. Why people are going and coming up? Right, 5.5 milliliter. Can somebody tell me if I do repeat this same experiment again with the same solution? Huh? I'm not changing the solution. Solution is same. So what will be the answer if I do the titration again? Let's say 5.8 milliliter as an example. Now see, is there a difference between these two values? Is there a difference between these two values?
Yes, sir. 0.3.
Yes. Yes. Why is there a difference between these two values? Can you tell me?
Some environmental factors.
No, all are same. All are in the laboratory. Same environment. All are in the same environment. No problem. Same solution, right? Same person is doing repeating the experiment. But still there's a variability. Why? And somebody? Yeah, this is important. This is why where the human being comes into role. Because every other aspects are same, right? But the results is different. Let's say the third reading is 5.6. Now, what you can say, there's a variability between these 3 points or these 3 data. This is where statistics is needed, right? This is where statistics is needed. If I take this solution or the titration, if I get the answer 5.5, first reading, second reading, again 5.5, third reading 5.5. Can you get practically all 3 with the same value? Can you get no, this is one scenario. This is another scenario. Practically, can you get all 3 values? I took here only 3 values, right? You can have 5 values or 10 values. Can somebody say whether this is practically possible, getting the same value again and again. Arshani, Navaratnam?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Can't take.
We can't, yes. We normally, practically, this is not possible. Having same value again and again and again without changing anything on the other factors. Same person is doing the titration, same solution is used, same burette is used, same location is used, same conical flask, same mixture of this solution is also used. Everything is same, no problem. So if it's so, you can't get this. How do you call this and this? There's a variability here. Here is there a variability? No variability. The variability here is 0. The variability in this data set is 0. How do you call this? If there's no variability, how do you call these values?
Constant values.
Constant, exactly. Good. Constant. So if you can get constant value, then we don't need any statistics. We can conclude our experiment using only one reading. Using only one reading, we can conclude our experiment. But here, practically, I'm talking about practically, even though all the other aspects are same, we cannot obtain the constant value. Anyhow, we have different values. So because of that, we need statistics. By having only one value, we cannot make any conclusion, so that we'll have to have several values. To interpret that several values, we need to have statistics as a tool. Okay, right. Is it understandable? Right. So we will move to the other point. So today is anyhow introductory lecture. Also, why we need statistics? It is estimating the present and predicting the future. What do you mean by estimating the present and future? Interesting. Sorry.
If we take the environmental rainfall reading, sir, we can expecting the future rainfall also.
Exactly. Yeah. So we based on some present data. So he said rainfall data. Rainfall data. Right. So he says, let's say last 3 years or 5 years, or last 5 years data. Last 5-year data, you get it, right? So based on that, having some average value, some value, we can predict maybe the next year rainfall quantity, right? So based on last 5 years or present year or last 5 years, we can predict it. We can predict the future based on the present or the past. By estimating the present or the past, we can predict the future values, right? Right. What about the third aspect of statistics? Study methods that can be used to solve problems, and we try to build some knowledge, right? So that you should understandable. Study the methods that can be used to solve the problems. So that is also important, isn't it? We as a human beings, we want to solve the problems using some methods, some ideas, some methods. So here, statistics also same. Don't forget statistics in the data aspects. It is a tool. It is not a. It is a tool. You understand? You understand the meaning of tool. Statistics is a tool to analyze and interpret the data. Can somebody tell me what is tool? What do you mean by tool?
That used to work easy.
Yeah, so make easy and correctly. For example, without a spanner, you cannot remove the wheel of a motorbike, isn't it? If I want to remove the uh, wheel of a motorbike, I need a spanner. So after putting the spanner only, I can remove the, it bring the work easily and perfectly. If you fix it by hand, what is the problem? The wheel might thrown away maybe after traveling half a kilometer. Example. So it is not a good appropriate tool to use the hand, for example. So that is how we can say statistics is a tool. Right. Statistics makes data information. We can close it. Right. We can. Statistics makes data into information. Right. So that is also very important. We can say. Sorry. So in another form, what is, if you have data, if data can be converted, because this is a raw data, no information. So data can be converted into information, right? Data can be converted into information. So for converting this data into information, we need statistics, right? So that is important. To convert data into information, statistics involved, right? Develop an understanding of some basic ideas of statistical reliability, stochastic process, and probability concept. So to understand some basic ideas of reliability, stochastic process based on the probability in the future forecasting and so on. Statistics is very important in every aspects of society. So everywhere people use statistics. For example, government departments, the societies, peoples, or some business, all right? For all this information, statistics is important. Right, any questions on that? Up to that, any questions? Everything is understood? Vikna Raja, Sindhuja, are you around? Vikna Raja, are you around?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions? Any questions? Yeah, Vikram Raja, any questions? Is it understandable? Sindhuja, is it understandable? Oh, difficult to understand what I said.
It's a signal problem sometimes.
Signal problem, yeah. So just tell me whether you understood. You can write to me, no problem. If you can write to me, that is fine. Under the chat, even if you can't have a proper signal, you can write to me your problem, so it will pop up. I can read it, right? Pushparaja, Miss Pushparaja.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any problem? So you can understand, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any questions, always you better ask. No problem. I don't mind. I expect everybody should get the sufficient, substantial knowledge on statistics. So that is important, right? So don't worry about asking question. If you have problem, if you are shy to ask questions, normally I used to ask a lot of questions during class, in class. But unfortunately, we cannot see each other. Problem is there. So if you have any questions, you can direct through via chat, right? Right. Descriptive statistics. So what do you mean by descriptive statistics? If you have a set of data, how we can summarize this data, some explanation of this data. So descriptive statistics, under that, before we talk about much on descriptive, we will talk about the term called as variability, right? I will speak about the term called variability. Variability. What is variability? Can somebody tell me what is variability? Variability is the extent to which data points in a data set, right? Let's say I have a data set 5, 6, 7. I have a data set. How many data sets, data points are there? This is 1 point, second point, third point. How many points are there? Anyone?
Please.
3. Fine. I took a very simple example. So, which data points in a data set, right, diverge? This is important. Diverge from the average value as well as the extent to which these data points differ from each other. So this is a definition, right? Right. Now, how these are difference, right? Diverge from the average value to the each value, each observation. Now tell me, if I want to calculate, if I want to see the variability,
Average value is 6.
what is that? Yeah, what is the average value? 6. So the variability of first data is 5 minus 6. What about variability of second data? 6 minus 6. Because this is the average value. These are average, right? So first data minus average, second data minus average, third data 7 minus 6. So what is the value here? What is the value here? What is the
Minus
value?
1.
Minus
Minus
1. Yeah. This one?
0.
This one?
Plus 1.
If you add this value, what is happening?
It's going to 0.
0. Now, I simply get the variability of first data, variability of second data, variability of the third data, which comes to 0 after adding. But by looking at the data, is there a variability among these data? Is there a
Yes.
variability among these data? Yes. What about this data? What about this data? Are they
No
having variability? Are they having a variability?
No, sir.
No. In this case, no problem. So that we understand. But in this case, ultimately we get a value 0. Can we conclude there's no variability here? Something wrong. We cannot conclude there's a variability. Right. So now, if you just look at the difference itself, will not work. If you look at the difference itself, we cannot say it is a variability. So later we will see the variability is the object of each value minus x bar whole thing square. I just writing the part of the variability. Now what is happening? Whether it is a minus or plus, all will be squared. Once you square, no problem. We don't have a problem because you don't get zero value. Is it clear? So we square it to get the actual variability. We will talk about that a little later. To get rid of the value 0, we square it. All right. Right. Now, I don't know whether you have the example. Right. I will erase that and I'm erasing. All right. Right. Example, weight of 10 students in a class. Assume your class, out of 86 students, we are taking 10 student of 10, right? 10 student weight. Randomly, we have selected a weight of 10 students, which is recorded in, what is that? Kilogram, right? So this is our value. This is my value. This is not minus, this is just a point, right? 52, 58, 72, 85, 56, 67, 62, 76, 79. Kindly mute it, please. Somebody is not muting. Yeah. Right. So we have 10 data. If you take the average,
Actually, 65.
65.3 kilogram. If you take the average, right? So this average right? Average. So we consider the student weight in this class is X. So student weight in this class is, let's assume it is X, right? So if you assume it, since the value of X is changing from object to object, then X is called as variable. This is how we can define it. Because why? This value changes from object to object, right? So therefore we call it as variable. Because what is this X? What is this X? X is the weight of this class. X is a variable. X is a variable. How we can name this X? X is a variable. X is a variable which indicate the weight of this particular class, your class maybe. So that this X is a variable. Why we call this X as a variable? Because if you take the individual value of this X, which is changing from object to object, therefore we call it as variable, right? A variable is any entity that can take on different values. Anything that can vary can be considered as variable. So the same definition as earlier. Any entity that can take on different values. So that is called as variable. For instance, age can be considered as a variable. Why? Do we have same age to all of us? No, different ages. Maybe in your class also. Do you have everybody with same age? No, different age. Even if you say I'm 22-year-old or 23-year-old, but if you look at the actual age, maybe in months, for example, they are different because they born in different months. If you take the age account in months, different. So it differs. Age is a variable. It can take because age can take a different value for different people, or even for the same person, age is with time. Age is different, right? With time, maybe this year you are 23 or 24. Next year your age is different from now, 1 year more. So another examples are income, height, weight, maybe in agriculture, yield, milk yield, paddy yield. All these can be considered as the variable, right? It is because of this variability we need the subject statistics. I have already pointed out. Very often we deal with variables, and thus decisions have to be made based on the variability. The statistical tools are very helpful in making decisions under such situation. Under which situation? When there is a variability. So as I pointed out earlier, the constant, if you do some experiments, if you have the values with constants, then we don't have any problem. Only one value is enough, more than enough to make a conclusion. Only one value is enough to make a conclusion. Example, what I said with the titration, I could remember exactly. I said if you have titration with let's say 5.5, 5.5 is one reading, another reading 5.5. Theoretically, all three readings should have 5.5. So there's no variable in that titration. But in reality, you have different value, 5.6 or 5.5, or I couldn't remember, 5.8 and 5.6. Practically, you have different values. So this is a variability. So here we need statistics. Here we don't need any statistics, right? So that is the importance of having statistics as a tool. So here variability is there. To understand the variability, and based on that variability, we want to make conclusion. On what basis that we are going to make a conclusion is important. That we will see later. So whether are we going to say that titration value is 5.5 or 5.8, sorry, 5.6 or 5.8, whatever it is. We cannot simply come to a single value as one of these objects. In this case, no problem. So that is why for a constant, we need only one value to conclude, but if there's a variability, we cannot. Variable one observation may not be sufficient to make the conclusion. So this is what important. So variable, we cannot make the conclusion based on one observation. By looking at 5.5 or 5.6 or 5.8, one observation we cannot make it. So we need several observations, at least 2 or 3 observations. We will see that later. Right, I think yeah. So I want to introduce new terms that we will discuss next time. So we will start from this slide next time, right? So I will stop here. Any questions? I can entertain any questions, no problem. I will give you a couple of minutes. If you have, I will stop slide share. If you have any problems, just tell me any questions. You can write down the questions as you like. Gajantini, are you around? because she has written that power failure in her area. Kajendini, are you wrong? Page 073. Kajendini, are you wrong? Any questions? All are silent. Any questions? You can type the questions as you like. Any questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The statistics is important to convert the data to information. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between data and information?
Yeah, data is not actually processed one, right? Let's say if because you see here in our example, earlier example, I will show you. I will share the screen. Yeah, so here. Right, now can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is, you see, weight of 10 students in a class. Sorry. Right?
Yes.
Of 10 students in a class. Now I have taken the weight of these 10 students from the class. 52, 58, and so on up to 55. Now this is a data. This is a data. By looking at the data, what you can say? It's an unprocessed data. This is the weight of 10 students. These are numbers. What we can conclude about that class now? We cannot say anything. We cannot say anything, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, very basic thing, average. In statistics, we call this average as a mean, right? Now, it gives some information, 65.3. Can somebody tell me what do you mean by 65.3 kg? I can say on an average, the weight of 3,100, how do you call your batch? Let's say weight of 29th batch. You all are 29th batch, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now I can say before, this is a raw data. Now I cannot say anything. Now I have done something on statistics. Say average value is 65.3. So I can say the average weight of 29th batch is 65.3. Can I say like that?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But you can ask me another question, which is coming with next week lectures. Why, sir, we took only 10 students from the class? Why we didn't take all 86 students? We'll talk about that later in next class, right? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Did I
Thank you.
answer your question?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, right. So this is a raw data. Now using statistics, we should be able to interpret this value. So that is, I mean, this is a very basic. So this is the starting point. We will talk about that further. So mean is one aspect. Right. Somebody asked, what is the probability and statistics? Right. Statistics is a vast area. Right. It is something like.
Sir, my doubt is, you give me some examples, sir, that Burette test. In that area, sir, we have some constant value But in probability, we can consider, sir, that's one value, sir. But in statistic, that we omit that value. So
Probabilities are not that. Probabilities, the chance of occurrence. I will discuss the probability later. The chance of occurrence. So in our early examples, if there's a constant value repeating 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, what is the chance of occurring again and again the same value? What is the chance of occurring the same value again? 5.5, 5.5, 5. Because it
there
is
is a chance to one value.
no chance of occurring the same value again. What is the chance of occurring? 100% chance, isn't it? Because same thing is
Yes, sir. Okay.
100%. So probability is 100% in that case.
Yes, sir.
To get the same value in a constant value, because we said 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. To get this 5.5, 5.5 again and again and again, what is the chance or what is the probability? We say it is 100%. But in the reality, practically, chance of getting the same value is not 100%. So that is called as probability. We will learn all these later. Don't worry. Probabilities. Talking about probability or studying, understanding about probabilities, one aspect of statistics. All these are coming into that because even though I define statistics, we can elaborate so many things in it. Very briefly, I elaborated with 4 aspects, but inside we are talking about probability and so on, right? So just keep in mind, probability means chance of occurrence. So for example, where are you from talking?
Particular.
Huh?
Particular.
Particular, right. Now, what is the chance of say 0 chance? Or I mean, no chance mean 0 chance. I mean, chance we can put it in percentage, right? So likewise,
Probability.
probability, yeah, chance of occurrence. Chance of occurrence. And singular, anybody, what is the probability? Chance of occurrence. Sankalne, na? That is statistics. Sankalne means statistics. Huh? Sampanta. Yeah. Talk about chance of occurrence. We will talk about chance of occurrence later. That is a big topic, right? We will understand how practically we can use chance of occurrence in agriculture as well, right? Okay. Any more questions?